Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm on the Sandbox test server demonstrating why I am very concerned about Crew 2.0 and I want to give you a sneak peek of what possibly World of Tanks could become if Crew 2.0 is implemented as it is on the Sandbox test server. So I'm playing one of the most controversial vehicles in the game. It's a wheeled vehicle. The EBR 105 is one of those vehicles that a lot of people hate because it stops people from being able to sit at the back of the map. It manages to spot them, and it's very hard for them to be able to see it because it has great concealment rating, and it's just one of those blooming annoying fast things to be able to hit, and even when you hit it, you might damage the wheels and slow it down a little bit, but it's tricky to be able to just take it out of the game. The EBR 105 is a tank that lots of players love to play in ranked battles, or even just bomb it around on the battlefield inside the random queue and simply dominate. There's a reason why it's become probably the most competitive light tank. So much so that Wargaming decided to nerf this vehicle substantially to be able to try and stop it from becoming overpowered. Now, how did they nerf it? They nerfed it predominantly by reducing the view range of the vehicle, and also they nerfed all of the wheeled vehicles, so when their wheels do get damaged, that they do get slowed down more significantly. Now, I want to highlight that one of the first things that Wargaming wanted to do to this tank was reduce the view range of the vehicle. And that's how the wheeled vehicles were balanced compared to light tanks. They were fast, they were active scouters. Wargaming was so concerned about increasing the view range of wheeled vehicles, you can't even use binoculars on them. I guess because they want them to be active scouts and not something that races into a bush because they are the fastest vehicle and then set up their binoculars. But Crew 2.0 completely changes this, because now, if you either pay a lot of money to be able to accelerate the crew training of your vehicle, or you play the game for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, you can just become better than everyone else because of the way that the crew system works, so that once you've got your commander to 75, then you can proceed to get prestige points on the commander as well to just get raw crew skill advancements there. And raw crew skill is what makes you better, or your tank I should say, better than your opponents. And so it becomes not the case that you actually just play the tank better, it's about how much you've either spent on paying to be able to boost the crew up, or alternatively how much you've played the tank. It's not how you play the tank, it's how much you've paid or how much you have played the vehicle. And I'm not talking about experience here, I'm not talking about playing a vehicle 1,000 times so you become a master of the vehicle. I'm talking about playing the vehicle 1,000 times so you can literally see further and you can have better camera rating than your opponents in equal tanks in an EBR on the enemy team. It's preposterous, and it's one of the things that I'm massively worried about when it comes to Crew 2.0. So exactly what are you talking about with this crew advantage that you would have? So let me break it down for you. Firstly, I'm using a premium consumable. Those will cost you 10,000 credits or 20,000 credits if you don't purchase them at a discount. Immediately, that means that it's not a free-to-play consumable, and that gives me a 10% crew skill advantage over anyone who doesn't have them. And that actually translates into 5% view range, because that's the way that crew skills work in World of Tanks. 2% becomes 1% raw actual attributes of the tank. And so when you see that premium consumable, you know that you can see 5% further than you would be able to do otherwise if you didn't have it. Next, I'm using bond vents on the vehicle, something which you can achieve by playing a lot at tier 10, and you can just have 8.5% extra crew skills when regular vents will have 6%. So that means that now we're up to 118% crew. Next, I'm using a vent purge, something which you have to purchase for small amounts of bonds, I believe, or you can gain them in very small amounts for competing in competitions. Pretty much out of the range of most players to use consistently in their tanks, unless they're willing to just grind tier 10 to be able to have that advantage as well. That's another 2.5%, pushing us up now to 121% crew skill. Next, let's talk about the fact that once you've got a commander to 75, level 75, that's not it. You can push it above and beyond. If you go through, I think, the 5 levels of prestige, you can get at least 15% extra crew skill. That's absolutely wild. Can you believe that just because you grinded or just because you paid, once you got to level 75 on your commander in Crew 2.0, you're literally going to be 7.5% better or 15% crew skill better than everyone else? how is anyone meant to compete with an EBR that can manage to see that far and have that good camo? And that's because I have managed to get up to 60% concealment on this tank. Do you think I get spotted by the E100 there? No. I'm 200 meters away from him. And here's the thing. If my vehicle has 60% concealment because I've put instructors with concealment on this vehicle, then even if that E100 has 450 meters view range, which is a very normal amount of view range for a tier 10 heavy tank to have, he's not going to see me until I get to 180 meters of them. And so I can light them up. They have no chance of being able to spot. They have no chance of being able to fight back. And here you can see what can happen as well when you have other crew skills in the vehicle that can pump it up as well. I'm using Team Spirit, which means that once I've managed to achieve a huge amount of spotting in the game, that it pumps up my crew skill 2.5% times by 3 for another 7.5% crew skill. Next, I'm also using Need for Speed, which means that I'm going to have better dispersion when I'm moving, and more importantly, Active Recon, which means that 5 seconds after I start moving, that my view range is going to be pumped up by another few percent. And all of this adds together to create a vehicle when you also have the expertise percentage, which is a replacement for Brothers in Arms, that I was able to get up to 148.5% crew skill. I'm not spotted. I'm not spotted. Until now. What? I drove within 50 or 100 meters of the Leopard there and the artillery, and they just can't see me. It's just absolutely... I'm completely worried. I am so worried about Crew 2.0, and I don't see enough discourse on the fact that this could be what World of Tanks becomes. Vehicles with excellent crews, just allowing people to be able to be better than they should do. It's not where the better tankers are going to be successful. And it's not just about being a better tanker. It's also about having that kind of thrill at the end of the battle, that you felt that you did well because you played well. Now there's going to be a whole different ball game of you thinking, did you get beaten just because the other person has 20% extra crew skill than you? Or even for players who play World of Tanks for a sense of self-satisfaction that we all try to get from video games, did you win that battle because of the advantages that you had, and not because you were the better player? The bottom line is that some vehicles in the game should not be allowed to have their statistics increased by either paying or just playing the game a lot. An EBR is not meant to achieve 500 meters view range while having 60% concealment. Just as much as Soviet medium tanks or maybe some of the British tank destroyers with outrageously high damage per minute are not meant to be able to pump their DPM up to a point where they can carve you up in a matter of seconds in a game where it does feel like those prolonged engagements are what are enjoyable. So far, what Wargaming have showcased as their vision of World of Tanks 2.0 on the 2 iterations of the Sandbox test server with the high explosive changes and Crew 2.0 looks to be dubious at best, and more realistically, a very good chance that it could literally destroy the balance of the game in a single patch. And I would once again like to encourage the community, as I did on Sunday, that if what you see is alarming and you care about the game that we have all been loving over the last 10 years, that you get vocal now and you have your say about it. Because I don't know about you, but I really don't want to be sitting here in 6 months or a year from now scratching my head as to why we didn't stand up and have our say to protect the game that we love and also the reasons that we play it. And finally, I'd also like to question Wargaming. How could you not see this coming? If you present to us an idea for what you want World of Tanks to become in possibly what might be one of your most important patches of all time, how can you justify experienced crews literally just being 15% crew skill better than everyone else? Was Brothers in Arms the 5% advantage that you could have after, I don't know, probably playing the game for about 10 hours on a crew not enough? Because, at least from my side, it feels like you're just wanting us to pay more or to play an absolute crazy amount to become better than everyone else, not because we're good at the game, but just because we play or we pay it. And once again, I'd be really interested to hear what all of you, the World of Tanks community, have to say in the comments down below. Do you find the idea of a 60% 500 meter view range EBR alarming, to say the least? Or do you think that there are enough good things, as I highlighted in the video of the Crew 2.0 Sandbox on Sunday, that justify there also being some issues added to the game? Anyway, ladies and gents, that's it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.